Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Watchers live stream for August 7th, 2024. Hope you're all having a fantastic week so far. Before we jump into our stories this week, though, Kevin, how have you been over the last week?
Doing pretty good. Job's getting a little bit easier to maintain right now. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, just new job and school again, but watch some horrible movies, watch some good movies. So, liked it.
There you go. As for me, not gonna lie, hasn't been great. To be perfectly honest, but hey, it's live stream Wednesday. That usually makes things better. So let's go ahead and jump into our stories for this week. And up first, Inside Out 2 is now in the 10 highest grossing films of all time, bringing in $1.56 billion as of yesterday. This is one of Disney's highest grossing films ever. It's Pixar's highest grossing film ever. And just absolutely impressive.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I still haven't seen it yet, so I did not contribute to this 1.56 billion, but but I have heard great things from you and from Letterboxd and everything. So I am excited to see when it comes on streaming to finally watch it.
There you go.
Yeah. Deadpool and Inside Out have pushed Disney's box office haul past $3 billion for 2024. And I mean, they just came out and swung for the fences and they got it pretty much.
Yeah, and they also kind of reduced how many movies they're putting out this year. When there's only one Marvel movie coming out, which is Deadpool and Wolverine. We got Inside Out, and there's still a couple movies left to go. So we'll have to wait and see how much more that can go up. Speaking of Disney, National Treasure 3 has a first draft script ready and will treat the previous TV show that was on Disney Plus as canon. I totally forgot there was a TV show. Maybe I'll have to look it up before this comes out. But I mean, hey, at least we're getting a third one. I mean, the first two are just kind of like, they're not like great films, but they are fun family adventure movies. And so, we need more of those.
Yeah, and I like Nicolas Cage in National Treasure 2. The first one I think is really interesting and cool, and how everybody wanted to steal the Declaration to see if there's a map on the back of it was pretty funny when it first came out. So yeah. All right, and speaking of Nicolas Cage, Nicolas Cage was supposed to appear as Ghost Rider in Deadpool and Wolverine, but the budget reasons, that's why it got cut, which would have been really cool. That would have been a really cool cameo, but maybe they're saving it for a rainy day.
Maybe. I know Nicolas Cage was set to come back and was like down to do it, according to Ryan Reynolds. But I mean, they already have enough visual effects heavy characters in the movie that perhaps wouldn't have been the best idea for their budget, but makes sense. Next up here, one of the potential Oscar hopeful films here, with Tom Hanks and Robin Wright, has had its release date moved up from November 15th to November 1st. A 2-week jump is pretty big, and I think that speaks to a little bit of the confidence that the film had, or the studio probably has in the film.
Yeah, and this is the one where it stays in one place the entire time, correct?
Yes.
In the living room? Okay. Yeah, it does look very interesting, and I want to see a little bit more trailers on it and see how they're going to just leave it in one spot and get the drama filled going, or whatever they decide to do with it.
Yeah, I am looking forward to seeing it in theaters.
Yeah, it would look very pretty in theaters too. Next up, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 will start shooting sometime in October. Cool, I'm ready for it. I mean, did you like the first one? I don't know if you did.
No, I did not.
You did not. Okay.
I'm curious to see what they can do with a second one. Yeah. I think that my biggest problem with the first one is that it could have been so much better, but they just took it in such an odd direction in the last half. And I think by making it more kid-friendly and PG-13, it really just, I don't know, kind of sold its soul. But it did make a lot of money. And so, gotta hang with it a little bit.
True.
But I think I'm forgetting his name right now. He played the first one. And he was also in Scream.
Lillard? Matthew Lillard?
Yeah, Matthew Lillard. I'm very excited to see what he can do with the villain character going forward.
Yeah.
So, Next up, A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan biopic film starring Timothy Chalamet, releases on December 25th, 2024. So it'll be out on Christmas Day. So if you got nothing better to do on Christmas Day, then go ahead and check out A Complete Unknown, which means that Lionsgate, or I don't know if it's Lionsgate or who is making it, means that they have some confidence in that movie. Because usually Christmas Day is the day you leave for big releases. You know, something like Wicked, or not a Marvel movie maybe, but like something along those lines, which should probably be coming out on a date like that. But you know, I think they're probably swinging for the Oscar fences on that one.
Yeah, did you see the trailer in theaters for Wolverine? This one popped up in my trailer.
Yes, I did. The second time I went to the theater, I did see it.
Yeah, it looked decent. Can't complain about it.
I mean, it was a teaser trailer, so.
That's true. Right. Next up, Britney Spears biopic in the works. Wicked's John M. Cho has been taped to direct.
I mistyped tap.
It's okay.
So the director of Wicked is being potentially called in to direct a Britney Spears biopic.
I mean, we got to see how Wicked is first, because it doesn't look too decent to me.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, John Chu also did Crazy Rich Asians, so a popular director for sure. You know, maybe they should just leave Britney alone.
Yeah,
not to quote a very famous YouTube video.
Throwback.
Yep. Talking about throwbacks, Amazon has picked up the live-action rights for a Voltron movie. This is a movie that has been in development hell for quite a while, and with the announcement that Amazon has picked up the rights for it for live action, hopefully that means that something is cooking.
Yeah, well, I know that they made a Voltron animation. I think it was on Disney Plus or something like that a couple years ago or something, and it was pretty decent. But I would love to see a live action Voltron. I mean, it's just the inner kid in me with what is it called, freaking Power Rangers and stuff. It was just that cool. So I would go see it in a second. Yep. All right. Neon is offering free long legs tickets to anyone born on the 14th, which is, I mean, marketing again.
Fantastic marketing.
Yep.
Obviously, if you've seen the movie, you know the significance of the 14th. So, pretty fun that ended up being the case. And the next two stories are going to be very similar. Up first is that The Batman with Robert Pattinson is getting a theatrical re-release. Nice. This makes sense because it did come out in 2022 as theaters were in the process of reopening after COVID. But also, we are getting the Penguin series coming to HBO Max pretty soon. So it makes sense that we're going to get something to kind of reignite interest in the franchise, or that world of the DC universe. So it makes sense. But I would love to go see it in theaters again. It was fantastic.
The more grounded world of DC, I feel like more gritty.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I saw it in theaters. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw it in theaters, and it was great theater movie. Loved it. Yep. So, next up, another release, theatrical release, The Babadook, which I have not seen. I think Nadia has seen it, but I don't know if she liked it. She can tell us in the comments. Yeah, the comments in the live chat, if she did or did not. But this one, have not seen it, so I don't know if I want to go see it. Did this get? No, this is an older movie, right? I'm gonna say
2014.
Older, like, okay, yeah,
in the 2010s. Yeah, one of the most probably, like, as far as like the cinephile circles go, I don't know much about like the horror fan base kind of reaction to this movie, but I know, like, for people like me who love film as a whole, like, it's very well regarded, and so I think it might be some sort of anniversary film release. So it makes sense.
Which is still, it's cool. I mean, if they wanted, if the people want to see it in theaters, they can go see it. Or maybe if it's me, I wanted to check it out in theaters instead of streaming it or something. Yeah, I could go to it too.
It's a really good way to get movies that have a lot of kind of press and attention and like good vibes around them back into theaters for people to experience for the first time. Because I don't know how many times I've been told that I should check out the movie, and now I can see it in theaters and not have to do it at home.
It's a 1950s movie. You should have seen that one in theaters. It's like, okay, yeah, like that's not going to get a re-release anytime soon.
Yeah. And then final story, I did have to add this last minute here, but the Borderlands first reactions are here. The film is getting some first reactions on Twitter and stuff, and they are disastrous. And the film is possibly looking at a less than $15 million opening.
My gosh.
Yeah, not good at all. No one is giving this movie any kind of positive vibes right now, it seems like. I mean, we had talked about test audiences giving this movie a low score, but man, the reactions I've been seeing on Twitter and stuff are just bad.
Do we have a score like on Metacritic or anything like that yet?
I don't think so yet. They're probably keeping nothing on Rotten Tomatoes or anything yet. I think that they're keeping this pretty close to the chest.
I just don't get how you can take a game like this and just mess it up so bad for some reason, just to try to make it, I don't know, like relevant. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like it has 3 games. You could have done it 3 different movies, and the prevailing kind of mentality is that this is an out of touch executive's look at what a video game movie should be. Okay.
And apparently none of the cast has any chemistry. Like, it's not funny. It just goes for too much and doesn't work on any level. Yeah, I think we're going to see a maybe a sub 30% score on this one on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic.
Audience score or critic?
I'm thinking that's critic score. For audience, I don't know. Maybe like the 50s, 40s to 60s, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
But not a lot of stories this week, so that is it for all the stories that we're talking about. Let's see, we had a question here from our good friend Joey. Doesn't Sony own Ghost Rider? I don't think so. Let me double check that real quick. Ghost Rider, the movie. It was Sony. I don't know if they own the rights or not anymore, because Disney did put Ghost Rider in with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. So I think Sony probably sold the rights. I think Sony only owns the rights to the Spider-Man stuff now.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
Which they've been doing great on, so that's okay.
Yeah, and it's not hard to get a character to show up like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a cameo. Mm-hmm. It's not like they're moving over universes or anything. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But all right, let's go ahead and talk about the trailers that came out this week. And I mean, I'm gonna be honest, there's only really one that stood out to me. But did anything stand out to you, Kevin?
Blink Twice looks very interesting. I don't know how to perceive how I watched it, because it was different and it's really eerie, and I don't know how Channing Tatum's going to be a villain in this movie, but it looks interesting to me. I know you're going to talk about Paddington.
Yep. Yep. Paddington looks great. That's all I got to say. Very much looking forward to that movie. Paddington 2 is one of the best movies I've ever seen. So it's, very much looking forward to that.
Nice.
Alrighty. Let's go ahead and change gears a little bit and talk about last weekend at the movie theater, Kevin.
Yeah. I mean, no surprise, Deadpool and Wolverine at, I was going to say 69, but nope, 96.8 million. Twister is still doing well at 22.8 billion, and Trap, the new one that came out this weekend, did not do too well, and I've only heard not so good things about it. So
pretty mediocre stuff.
Yeah, 15.5 billion. Despicable Me 4, 11.5, and Inside Out still there, 6.8 million.
Absolutely right. Nothing too surprising here. Trap was the biggest thing that opened up this weekend. Speaking of opening up, let's go ahead and talk about what's coming out this weekend and what you might or might not want to go and see.
Yep.
Up first is Borderlands. Based on the best-selling video game, this all-star action-adventure follows a ragtag team of misfits on a mission to save a missing girl who holds the key to unimaginable power. That is a very basic plot line. This is from director Eli Roth, most well-known for playing or directing films like Hostel, among others, and has a pretty large cast, as we said earlier, that apparently doesn't have any chemistry, so we'll have to figure that out. Up next is the one that I'm more excited for, and I think you are more excited for too, Kevin, which is Cuckoo. Mm-hmm. A 17-year-old girl is forced to move with her family to a resort where things are not what they seem. This is an upcoming horror film. I believe this is also Neon, or it might be A24. It is Neon as well. So same studio as Longlegs. We got to this trailer in front of Longlegs.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to this. I've been hearing some very decent things about the movie. Kind of a nice change of pace and a very out there kind of weird movie. So up third is It Ends With Us. Adapted from the novel by Colleen Hoover, Lily overcomes a traumatic childhood to embark on a new life. A chance meeting with her neurosurgeon sparks a connection, but Lily begins to see sides of him that remind her of her parents' relationship.
Yep.
My roommate's girlfriend is very excited for this movie. She's been reading the book, so I've been hearing a little bit about it here and there. Ryan Reynolds just did a fantastic video where he
so good
jumped into an interview with one of the cast members.
Interrogated him.
Exactly. Of course, this stars Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds' wife, so that makes sense. And finally, we have Duchess from the same director as The Descent. Follows a tough, working-class petty criminal who morphs into an anti-heroine to be reckoned with in a murky underworld in the treacherous world of diamond smuggling. Looks like a kind of typical action film. But, if you're interested, check out the trailer and see what you think.
Yep.
So, alrighty. But that's going to be it for every part of our kind of scheduled part of the show. So we made it through. Now we get to talk about the fun stuff, which is the movies that we watched, and of course, to do the Wheel of Fate afterward.
Yep.
So, Kevin, you watched 2 movies outside of the Wheel of Fate, and I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'll have you do 1 first, then I'll do 4, then you 1, and I'll do 3.
Sounds good. So my first one was Blowout with John Travolta. I was intrigued by it because it is part of the Criterion Collection, and I have seen a couple of YouTubers that Nadia and I watch pick it up, and it's very interesting. It talks about how back in the day when the movies were not first started, but how they did audio back in the day by recording it on a tape and then putting it over the movie, such and such like that. And it's very interesting in that fact for me, how things were done back in the day, doing movies and stages and audio stuff as well. But it takes a little bit of a turn because it's kind of like a suspense horror movie with a little bit of action in it, which it was very intriguing. I was glued to the screen the entire time. Really good acting by John Travolta, who I always thought of as Disco Fever. It's not Disco Fever though. What is it? Saturday Night Live? No.
Saturday Night Fever.
Fever. That's what it is. But he really can act. I'm not saying he couldn't act in the other ones, but he really acted his ass off on this one, and I really enjoyed it. So I gave it an 87 out of 100.
There you go. Up first for me is the comedy film Grown Ups from 2010. This was the one that obviously stars Adam Sandler, David Spade, Rob Schneider, Kevin James, and Chris Rock. And I remember liking this when I was younger, or when it came out when I was in high school. And I thought it was all right then. And I think it's kind of bad, but it's not as bad as most Adam Sandler movies. So I actually did end up giving this a 40. I think there are a few funny gags here and there, but I think the thing that really gives me some more points in this movie is that you can tell the cast was having a blast making this movie. The problem is, though, there is no plot. Like, it is just like their coach dies and they go to the cabin they used to stay at. That's really it. And, it's a bunch of families coming together and realize, no, we're all different, but we all can have fun. it's so formulaic and boring, but like again, you can tell the cast is having a great time, which in turn like makes you appreciate it a little bit more. You know, like most of the comedy doesn't work for me. You know, I can only stomach so many jokes about Adam Sandler. Oh, let's play some Chutes and Ladders, guys. No, we want to play GTA, Dad. Like that's not funny. You know, there's also like Kevin James is not like he like falling over once, sure, but when that's all his character does, it's just annoying.
Yep.
There are some funny moments though when Rob Schneider kind of plays like a yogi or like a spiritual person. When he drops that act, when he's got the arrow in his foot, it's fantastic. Yeah. The movie does get a little misogynistic though, at points, but you know, I think that the way that it's executed did make me laugh, and so it's not like anything uncomfortable. One particular scene that I was thinking of regarding that, it's not awful, it's not great either. It falls really in between, kind of closer to bad, but there are far worse family comedies out there. This is one of the better ones, I would say. So there is that. Up after that is It Comes at Night, the A24 horror movie that came out back in 2017. This has been on my watch list for a very long time. I saw that it was on HBO Max because of the A24 deal they have, and was excited to check it out, and I can't say that I wasn't a little disappointed. I think the film does hype up a threat, the It, that It Comes at Night is referring to. They really kind of hype that up, and it doesn't really deliver. I don't want to spoil the movie because obviously Kevin says he can't remember if he saw it or not, so I don't want to spoil it for you. But it's definitely not what you're expecting. The best part of this movie though are its performances. Joel Edgerton is fantastic in this movie. Riley Keough is fantastic, and they really ratchet up the tone very well and the tension very well. But I think again the biggest thing for me is the ending. It's just a little too unsatisfactory. It's also kind of mismarketed. It's mishyped. So it did disappoint me, but it still has some great performances and some really good cinematography and great tension too, even outside the performances. Like the director knows what he's doing. I think he just needs a better script. It's kind of, this is the bigger problem.
Gotcha.
Up after that was Taken from 2008, starring Liam Neeson. Before all the memes about bad films, we had this one. Because of course everyone knows the editing meme of Taken 2 or 3 where it's like him hopping over the fence and it's like 48 cuts. It's real bad. This one though is actually a very solid thriller. This came out before he made like 2 of these a year, seemingly. He is fantastic in this movie. He's still young enough that the action is great. Even though it is a little oddly shot and edited sometimes, the action is great. It does shine a light upon something that's really fascinating, kind of the trafficking worlds of Europe, which is really interesting. My biggest problem with this movie, though, it's an hour and a half, and nothing happens until a half an hour into the movie. Yeah, like the first half an hour is just wasted time, and they could have, done some more to explore Europe and made some more commentary on trafficking or something in that last part, but they just do nothing in that first half an hour. And so I mean, sure, we get to see him with the pop star, great, and then that sets up something at the end, but the first third is just kind of boring. And before we jump back over to Kevin, I did watch San Andreas from 2015. The Rock fighting an earthquake. No, I'm just kidding. As far as disaster movies go, though, this one isn't as bad as I thought it would have been. It's still not great. I did give it a 41, but it is better than I feel like most Emmerich movies are now. Like, what's really nice about this one, though, is the disaster scenes are fantastic. This movie actually shows... It feels so sociopathic to say this, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but like, a lot of these disaster movies never really show you the toll of these events. Like this one shows people going through some shit. Like there's a part with a tsunami, because it's obviously an earthquake, and like there's a shot where you're watching down a street and then the water comes over. Any other movie would have cut away as soon as the water hit, but the shot that lingers in my head is still like it's still underwater, and you see people drowning, kind of moving with the current. Like there's nothing they can do about it. Fascinating stuff, because I feel like the whole point of these disaster movies is to scare you, and to scare you and to kind of like make it just like disturbing. You have to show that kind of thing. You can't just cut away and be lazy about it. Kind of rant over. It also starts really early too. Like it is most disaster for most of the movie, which is
nice,
which is good.
That's cool.
And the characters are not helpless either. They know what they're doing. They're very smart about what they do. The main characters specifically, which is great. The performances though are not great. Dwayne Johnson is just himself in a firefighter t-shirt. I like Carla Gugino in like everything she's in. She's just really boring here. The teens are all flat. The only cast member I thought did a decent job was I think his name is Ian Grafode, who played Mr. Fantastic in the 2000s Fantastic Four movie with Chris Evans and Jessica Alba. He plays an asshole, and he does it really well. And so, like, that's probably the only good thing. And then, just beyond that, the writing is bad. The forced story about a family coming back together, it's in every single disaster movie. Just make a movie like this that's scary and shows, like, disaster. That's what, like, I don't know. But it's not awful. It's just aggressively mediocre. It's a step up from Emmerich Films, but it's a step down for blockbuster entertainment. So,
would you like to see a disaster movie with different perspectives of family as they go through the disaster, but the family unalives, and then it just goes straight to another family that's like, so say the tsunami situation. Somebody's on California side. Oh, the tsunami hits, but the news hasn't gotten broken into the inner Californias yet. And then, so that family unalives. And then
they do kind of play with the idea of information not traveling too quickly in a disaster situation in that movie, in San Andreas. But I think what I would like to see more is something like Shin Godzilla, which deals with like the government bureaucracy and getting locked down in like how quick the response is.
Okay.
And then, but you also highlight that with the disaster, and hopefully that's kind of a kickstart for people to be like, no, we should like fund disaster relief programs and like be more on top of the science and everything. And so, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. I think going for sensationalism and like, obviously the family coming back together is like a low bar to cross to get people emotionally invested who don't have a shred of intelligence. But it's fine.
Okay, yeah. Mine is up next. Mine was Turbo. I remember watching this movie. I don't know when, but I remember as soon as I started it, I remembered the whole movie. And it's an okay kids movie. But I will say it is a kids movie. It's nothing to be taken seriously. It's a snail that gets hit with NOS, which doesn't work that way, first of all. And now he's a race car driver. Take what you get from that. That's all. I gave it a 40 out of 100. It did have some funny moments and some characters that you did really like, but that's all it gave me.
Sure. Yeah, I've never seen it. It has Ryan Reynolds in it, right? I think. Hasn't he played the main snail?
Maybe. Let me look.
You'll have to double check. While you're doing that, though, we did get a comment I want to go ahead and address. Joey says, thinking about what you said about the Voltron announcement, I feel like Guillermo del Toro needs to be attached because of Pacific Rim. I could see that. I think I'd rather him continue working on his films, like I think he's doing a Frankenstein film right now. And then, like, more stop motion. Like, I think he should just do whatever he wants to do. He may have gotten a little burnt on Pacific Rim. So I would also say Travis Knight, who did Bumblebee, would be a great choice for that movie. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head right now. But good question though. I think Guillermo del Toro could be good, but I think it's a little too light of a universe for him. It's too hopeful. He deals more in like the creepy, suspenseful kind of stuff. So I don't know, like
more gothy kind of. I don't want to say gothy, but like
Pacific Rim wasn't that way, and he did it. So I don't know. Yeah. Interesting. That's a very interesting thought there, Joey. Though. Oh, well, I was right. It was Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. Okay. All right. Up next for me was The Amazing Spider-Man from 2012. This is the first Andrew Garfield movie, and I gotta say, I have always undervalued how good Andrew Garfield is as the character. I think he plays a great Spider-Man. His Peter Parker is a little bit more testing the waters, but I think he gets better over time. But I think he was probably one of the best parts of this movie. I think Emma Stone is great as Gwen Stacy. I actually met Emma Stone when she was doing photo shoots for Gwen Stacy, so she had the blonde hair when I was back in high school. So that was fun because my high school class did a trip to Sony Studios. She was there and she talked to our class, which was fantastic. But the true standout to me, though, is Martin Sheen as Uncle Ben. easily the best version of the character ever. That is an Uncle Ben that I would love to have in my life. Not the dead part, but like I would just love to have him around.
Spoiler.
Yeah, right. Story-wise, though, I don't think the film is as interesting as any of the Raimi ones. It feels more, I don't know, it feels more formulaic compared to the Raimi ones. But I think a lot of that's due to the villain. The villain's just not interesting. And going for like the ultimate Spider-Man type universe where like Oscorp is behind everything, which is kind of a spoiler, is a little kind of boring too. I don't know. It just doesn't really work for me. But luckily, with all this updated new technology we've gotten since the Raimi films, we do get some really interesting and new visuals, especially with the web slinging, using the actual web fluid instead of the natural fibers coming out of the hands. But the Lizard does not look good as a villain. I do appreciate them bringing in an indie film director in Mark Webb, who did 500 Days of Summer and a couple other similar films. I think he brings an interesting perspective to this, that teenage kind of angst, romantic kind of a thing that really can work. And I just think that they didn't utilize his strengths enough. They really went for like a corporatized kind of universe building story instead of going for something a little bit more indie feeling. And I feel like that film would have been way better. But, unfortunately, also when you have an indie director who hasn't done a lot, they can control you a lot more easily. So that is part of the case for that one. Up next is an animated short. So Joey, I don't know if you've seen this one. Maybe you have. I watched one called Swing You Sinners. So fun story for this one. I know it sounds like something I would be totally interested in because sinning is winning. Don't forget. I was watching a video compilation. It was like the 7 most disturbing animated shorts or whatever that ever came out. And this is always in like one of those types of videos. It's a very disturbing short for its time. Like looking at it now, like sure, it's not like the spookiest thing in the world, but like for me, I had a recurring nightmare as a kid this is very reminiscent of. So like it is a little bit spooky. And it's a delightfully sinister little short. I think it ends a little too abruptly, but it is really creepy and spooky. Not as disturbing as I was expecting, but it definitely was pretty spooky. There is also the questionable energy that the main character is mostly black in color, and then he's being chased around a graveyard by like thousands of white-robed ghosts. It's a little... I might be reading way too much into that, and it's probably not the case at all, because they're obviously just ghosts, but like it was kind of funny. Like in my head, I'm like, I don't know about that. But then you're like, okay, wait a minute, they're ghosts. It's totally fine. I really like this. You'd have to go on the Internet Archive, though, to watch this, as it's not like readily available, I don't think. It might be on YouTube, but I was on the Internet Archive anyway one day, and I was like, I'll check it out. So, and finally, I know I've been talking a long time. We actually have some comments here. Believe it or not, I have not seen it. Hey, go check it out then, Joey. It's your homework. I know one of the ghosts influences a boss in Cuphead. Actually, when you defeat the devil in Cuphead, the achievement you get is the name of the short, Swing You Sinners. So that's also another Easter egg. But last up for me, though, is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which I checked out last night. And because I was just browsing through Netflix, and I was like, fuck it, and I put it on. I thought with Afterlife, the franchise got a needed and vital shot of adrenaline. I thought Afterlife was great. Probably the second best of the movies, I will say. But I think that this one gets way too overloaded with characters. There are far too many characters in this movie. And they all get screen time, which just takes away from telling a meaningful story with one or two of them. And it's not saying that they're bad by any means. Like, the cast is good here, except for some of the new people they bring in this time around. Kumail Nanjiani is really annoying in this movie. There is a certain character tied to the main character, Phoebe, who is not the best either. And then there's a whole, like, modern-day ghost crew separate facility thing. I don't want to send you spoilers for those of you who haven't seen it. Not great either. But the OG cast is given more to do here. Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name. It's going to drive me nuts. Ernie Hudson. And then also, what's her name? Annie Potts. All come back to reprise their roles. They're given more to do this time, which is nice. But they definitely, this whole movie goes for a vibe of, remember this from the first movie? Remember this from the second movie? Remember this from the first movie? There's literally a moment in this movie. This is kind of a spoiler. They're at the library. they're running out of the library, and Dan Aykroyd just happens to pass by the same aisle he looked down in the first movie where he saw the librarian ghost.
Yeah.
And the librarian ghost shows up. And you're like, why? Like, why did that need to be there? It's just kind of frustrating. But I think the visual effects in this movie are pretty great this time around, though, except for the same particular character that I was talking about before.
Yeah.
The mini Stay Puft guys are adorable. I think they're a fantastic inclusion. But I do think that one of the weakest parts of this movie is the villain. The villain is well designed for a Ghostbusters villain. Fantastic design, but doesn't do anything until the last 20 minutes. And it's kind of BS. I feel like the film, though, is a giant missed opportunity. It's unfortunate. But I do appreciate that it went for a different tone. It went for something darker, a little bit spookier. It is the spookiest out of all of them. But it just didn't. It missed the mark. It's not great, but it's not awful either. I'm not upset that this is one of the higher grossing movies of the year. It was in the top 5 for a very long time. But it's just slightly less of mediocre, which is unfortunate because I feel like the Ghostbusters franchise deserves better. But I think maybe it deserves to rest in peace.
Yeah, I mean I enjoyed Frozen Kingdom. I think I watched it.
Frozen Empire.
Yeah, I did. Frozen Empire, Frozen Kingdom. Oh, jeez. But yeah, I do agree. The villain looks fantastic. First of all, I wish he was in the movie.
Fantastic.
Looks fantastic. I wish he was in the movie a lot more than when he is. And then I know exactly which visual person you were talking about.
There we go.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, that's going to be it for the movies we watched recreationally. Now let's go ahead and talk about the Wheel of Fate ones, and we'll start with our shorts. So, Kevin, if you want to go over your short first.
Yeah. So what makes Daffy Duck? And this was really funny to me just because Daffy gets a lot of screen time, and there's 2 villains that he has to con pretty much, which is Elmer Fudd and a fox that is trying to eat him pretty much. And he's just really funny in this one. I enjoyed it a lot. I was smirking a lot more than usual in this one. And again, animation at this time looks fantastic for what it was and what time it came out. So I gave it a 79 out of 100. I love watching these little shorts.
Yeah, they're fantastic. One of the best things I think we've gotten put on the wheel. So thank you, Joey. Because I mean, like, shorts are important. They are an important part of film history. They were shown before films in theaters. Like, they're important. So we should definitely check them out. For me, my short was Gone Batty, which is a Looney Tunes short from 1954 about a baseball playing elephant. Which this short is adorable. I think that it's not super memorable or funny, but it is well animated and it feels different from Looney Tunes' usual shtick. But it does reuse some sequences and some gags from a much better short called, I think it's Baseball Bugs, which is the one you always kind of see in the memes with all of Bugs and playing baseball against a whole team of, rough and tough looking guys. This short reuses some of those things, or they reuse some of that in Baseball Bugs. Joe, you might have to let me know the order of that. But Gone Batty was fine. Well animated, kind of adorable, but not the best thing in the world.
Not the best thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up for me was
I clicked the wrong button. There we go.
That's okay. Was 30 Days of Night. I will say this is one.
You can keep talking.
Oh, this was a very good vampire movie just because of how dark it was and how sinister the vampires looked. And I absolutely love that because vampires shouldn't be sparkling in the sunlight. They should be in the dark with razor sharp teeth and looking disgusting. And these guys looked absolutely disgusting, and I was all for it. The thing that sucked about this movie was its goddamn editing. During the fights, there are just cuts and cuts and cuts, and there's shaky cameras sometimes, and it was almost making me kind of sick watching it because the cameraman could not keep a straight hand pretty much. And I don't know, not blaming the cameraman because it's probably he was doing his job, but the cuts in this movie just made it feel like I'm missing out on a good fight scene, and they had to cut it because someone messed up. Okay, let's just go to the next one, and that's what really brought it down for me. Oh, and there's a dog there's several dog deaths in it, so I didn't like that either, so that marked it down as well. But I gave it a 64 out of 100. One of the better vampire movies out there, though. And I love how it takes the nighttime approach in Alaska, because it is 30 days of night in Alaska, and I love that aspect of it as well.
Yeah, it would make sense that that's where the vampires would go, right? Quick comment here. Baseball Bugs was first. I do like it more than Baseball Bugs, though, as I feel Bobo the elephant fits more as an underdog, while Bugs is just doing a shtick. Sure, but I think the Bugs one is more iconic, I think. And I definitely remember that one more than I would remember this one. But thank you for the comment, though. Thank you for letting me know which one was first. The first movie I checked out was Idle Hands from 1999. This was a horror comedy starring Devon Sawa and Jessica Alba and a smattering of other people. I had never heard of this movie until this came up on the wheel, so I was excited to check it out. I think it's fine. It's a late 90s comedy with stoner elements, which is where you typically lose me. I just do not really enjoy stoner comedies, or even like late 90s stuff. It just gets really cringy sometimes. But I think that what brought me back in were the campy horror elements and then the slapstick comedy that comes out of this movie. And a lot of what makes that work is Devon Sawa, who brings a really nice level of physical slapstick comedy to his role here in his performance, which definitely makes it more fun to watch. You know, it's like, because arguably he's not a great character. No one in this movie is a good character except for maybe Jessica Alba, but like, they're not great people. I've just learned that in a 90s movie, you just make a terrible person your lead character, and if you are a terrible person, you'll get the girl and live just a fine life. Like, it's weird. The rest of the cast is fine. Seth Green, Eldon Hansen, I think is his name. They're all fine. Jessica Alba, though, she's really just there to be pretty. Like, they do not give anything for her character to do, which is unfortunate, because I think Jessica Alba is a talented actress and could definitely do more. But it's just kind of unfortunate that they wasted her on that one. You know, the horror aspects are definitely more downplayed than I thought they were going to be from the beginning, but they're still kind of a welcome little addition. The comedy definitely takes much more of a center stage. But yeah, it's just okay. Nothing to write home about, unfortunately, but you know, it is fine. I would say if you're going to watch a horror comedy, go watch Cabin in the Woods instead. That is a masterpiece compared to this movie.
Okay. And do you want to do one more of yours so then we end?
Sure.
Okay.
Also, up next for me was War Games from 1983, of course, starring our good friend Matthew Broderick. It had been a while since I've seen this movie. I haven't seen this probably since I was like maybe 15. I think this is a fun movie. I don't think it's flawless though by any means. You know, I think that it fits into the kind of genre of film that is concerned with the genius level 80s teen who just goes and does something stupid and then ends up coming out of it just fine. Like, in any other reality, that kid would probably be in the deepest, darkest hole of a prison the federal government had. But they're like, no, we have to make the guy to save the day. It's nothing new, but like, for its time, its idea of an AI and war games is, you know, really fun. Matthew Broderick is fine. He's not as good as he usually is. He's better as Ferris Bueller a couple years later, and similar character, just not as like computer geeky. Here, though, he comes off a little bit more annoying and cocky than Ferris Bueller, which is, it's okay. It's not his most likable role, but it's certainly not as bad as it could have been. No one else in the cast is especially good or interesting. Like, no one stood out to me. The girlfriend, like Computer Whiz, no one stood out to me.
Okay.
I do have to give the film though some unfortunate credit in my head though. Like, it's a part of, like, whenever I'm talking to people about AI and how AI is so important for humanity's future, and I'm not talking about generative art AI, not talking about that at all. So I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I'm talking about like just artificial intelligence in general, for medical reasons, for scientific reasons, for everyday life. It is so important. But anytime someone talks about it, they always go, oh, well, Skynet's just going to kill us and we're going to have war games all over again. And like, they just use it as a crutch. And so like, I'm not pulling the movie down for that, but it's just annoying that this is always used in those conversations.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's not like an extraordinary piece of film. It's a nice little piece of Cold War nostalgia. It's not a waste of time by any means. Like, you should check it out if you want to see something that's kind of fun from the 80s, and it's, you know, it's got like a nice little vibe to it. But other than that, it's not great. You know, like, not anything I would like say I'm going to watch again anytime soon.
Okay.
But let's talk about one of the worst movies that Kevin's reviewed in a while, though.
It's been a while, but this one's an actual movie, and I give it a 5 out of 100. It's Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2. Don't watch this movie, please. It is so... I get it. It's a kid's movie about talking dogs. Don't take this seriously. But literally, Paddington 2 is one of his favorite movies, and it's a talking bear. They could have done so much better in this. The plot to this movie is horrible. There's nothing to like except for the dogs. The dogs are absolutely adorable and cute and do all the cool stuff that dogs can be trained to do. But that's it. Didn't care for any the humans in this movie. You could have left them out of this movie and just had all dogs, and I would have been perfectly fine with it. It literally, the humans are in a love relationship, and then she goes off to travel, and then they break up. That is all you need to know. And then everything else is with the dogs. So 5 out of 100. Please don't watch this movie. Just don't.
You know, it's amazing. You should have. I don't know. I feel like if I had watched this, because you watched this movie first before 30 Days of Night.
Yes.
Like, I would have been wishing, like you said, that there were some dog deaths in 30 Days of Night. I would have been wishing for the dog deaths, apparently, if I was watching Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2.
No. The dogs were cute. I would kill the people in this movie because they are just so generic.
No, but I thought you said, the dogs were, like, annoying in this movie, though, aren't they?
No, I mean, they have annoying voices, and their mouths move like plastic toys, but that's not their fault. That's the animation's fault.
All right. Last movie for me, though, is Wonder from 2017. This movie was actually... I like this more than I thought I was going to. I thought the performances in this movie were great. Jacob Tremblay is especially fantastic in this movie, playing the main kid. Augie, I believe is his name, yeah. He is great. And actually, most of the kid cast in this movie is great. And it's odd that, like, I find kid casting to be fucking terrible.
Yep.
But here it's great. These kids talk like kids are these days. They act like kids do. There's a couple of moments where it does get a little cringy and a little weird, but, like, you know, they're kids. It makes sense. Owen Wilson and Julia Roberts play the parents, and they don't take the shine away from Jacob Tremblay. They let him cook. You know, like, they're on their own. They do give a wonderful, like, some really good performances as well.
Nice.
I will say, though, there is a bully in this movie, and the parents of the bully were perfectly casted and perfectly acted, because they literally sound like every single parent of a spoiled child I've ever seen. They literally were blaming the main character for getting bullied. It's fantastic. Yeah, it's like, it's so realistic. But, like, the kind of what it kind of boils down to, though, usually movies like this are pretty manipulative. They really prey on your feelings, and, like, they make you feel a certain way so that you come out of it going, oh, that was so good, but then it really wasn't a good movie, or, like, it isn't a good message, or whatever it might be, right? Mm-hmm. This one is not. This succeeds because it shows genuine moments of emotion and connection, and I think it has a really sweet ending. The only thing that really doesn't work for me, there's a storyline with his sister and her friend. It's just okay. It feels tacked on. They didn't really need it. You know, could have cut out a little bit of time. And there are a few moments where the movie does drag down a little bit, but it's pretty few and far between. Nothing really too noticeable, but it's a nice change of pace from what I've been watching lately. So I was kind of excited to see it. And maybe because I've been feeling a bit down lately, it did lift my spirits a little bit the day when I watched it. So nice little movie. Can't argue with it. But that is it for everything we watched on the Wheel of Fate. So for this week. But of course, we have to get into the thing to pick out what we're doing next week. And of course, that means we're going to need some of you to put in your suggestions for what should go on the Wheel of Fate. We did have one of my coworkers, one of my good friends, Twan, did submit his movies earlier today. So please go ahead and submit some more picks for what you think should be going on the wheel. We're currently at 190 things on the wheel. Isn't that fantastic, Kevin?
Yeah, because I can't see a damn thing on that. It just looks
great.
like a lollipop.
It's fantastic. So go ahead if any of you have any suggestions. I'll say maximum, probably like 3 per person, maybe. I think we might. Do we need more shorts? Let me check here. We'll see if Joey has to come in clutch and give us some shorts. There's gone Batty.
I have shorts. Don't you worry, Joey. I don't need your shorts.
Ooh, you talking about pants? Or you
talking clothes. I'm good.
I'm talking about short films, my guy. Short films. This is a movie podcast, not a clothing one. Let's see here. We got Charlie
in the Chocolate Factory
from 1968. Never heard of it. Coonskin from 1975. Such a dad joke, he says.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mom from 1983. Mr. Mom, starring was it one of the Critical Role cast members, Kevin? That's what we were talking about on Monday. Funny that came up. Any other suggestions for what would like to be thrown onto the wheel? Also, since we have hit a higher number of suggestions, I'm going to go ahead and add a couple more for you and me, Kevin.
Okay.
Just to make it a little bit fair, kind of here. Okay. Also pushes it up a little bit, so it's kind of hard to read. Any other suggestions for what we can put onto the wheel? Go ahead. We'll give it another minute. Getting up to a little bit. Yeah. We'll do it just another minute. What are you hoping to get this week, though, Kevin? Are you hoping something scary? You hoping something funny?
I can't even see anything. So.
Well, that's not what I asked, but.
You know what? I don't know. I don't know what I want to watch this weekend. Because I like a lot of movies that they've picked so far. So they're doing a good job on that part, except for the 0 and the 5 that I got. Wait, no, I got 2 zeros.
You got 2 zeros in the same week.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, look, there it is. A Suburban film. You accidentally clicked on it.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I don't know. Maybe a comedy. I would like.
He's gonna throw in Disorder in the Court. Let's see here. From 1936 for good measure. All right. Well, let's go ahead and we're gonna shuffle it up. I think I went first last week because I lost the bet. That's why I had to do 3 movies. So, Kevin, are you ready?
Yep. Spin that wheel.
Spin that wheel. Spin that wheel. And Kevin is going to get
something. What?
The Fugitive.
Oh, I love that movie.
Well, if you haven't reviewed it on Letterboxd, now is the time to do it.
Yeah, let me see. Hold on. I don't think I have, but
let's double check. Hey, it's not the worst thing in the world to get something you've seen before but haven't reviewed. So
that's true.
And you said you like it, so that makes it easier.
I have not, so we're watching it.
There you go. So Kevin gets The Fugitive. Let's go ahead and shuffle it up, and we'll get my pick.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if it's a short.
Yeah, hopefully it is. That way we can kind of get it out of the way.
Oh, I almost got it. Did I get it? Oh,
Dragnet. This was just added. I think Joey just added this. Joey or Matt Walls added this last week?
I think Matt did. I'm so close. Look, I could have picked your damn movie.
I kind of want to pick one for you. But... All right, Kevin, this is your next one. Let's hope you get a short and get it out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and Kevin gets Disorder in the Court from 1936.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and I'm gonna double check here real quick, just to see. Maybe Joey can answer it faster than I can. Disorder in the Court is it's a 17-minute. Oh, it's a live-action short, and it is a Three Stooges short.
Oh, cool! I'm down for that.
So awesome! It's on Tubi too. So
yep, I looked it up.
Hey, there you go. All right, Disorder in the Court is your short. That rhymed. All righty.
Wow.
And let's go for my second spin.
You're like Eminem over there.
You know me. White rapper that I am.
Mm-hmm. What is that? Dread.
Dread. I think I've already reviewed Dread. Let me double check.
Ooh. The new one's good.
Yes, I have already reviewed Dread. It is fantastic. If you've never seen Dread, you should see it.
I don't think leave it on there because I don't think I've reviewed it. So
okay, let me go ahead and find it here real quick, and then I'll put your name next to it. Unfortunately, yeah, already seen it. All right, let me go ahead and reviewed it. While it's spinning, I did give it an 80 out of 100. A gloriously gory and violent retelling of Dread that provides a cool new world, great new Dread, and some incredible cinematography. Oh, well.
Wait, you can do it.
That's my pick for you.
Yeah.
This is for me.
I know. I don't have another one, do I?
Yeah, you do. You have a short in one movie.
Yeah. So pick. This will be mine, and we'll just spin for you twice.
Okay, sure.
What am I watching?
I'm going to have you watch one of my favorite movies. I'm going to have you watch Belle.
Okay.
Which is on HBO Max.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. I think it was on the list here somewhere too.
Yeah,
Belle. Yeah.
Yep.
I just rewatched it with my roommates because we do like our movie nights where we kind of pick them.
How do they like it?
What was it? They liked it a lot. And my review actually went up from a 98 to a 99. I think it is. I can't quite give it 100. I can't justify giving it a perfect score. I really want to, but there's a couple things that make me hold it back from 100. It is a fantastic movie, and I can't wait to talk to you about it because I want to see if you pick up the actual meanings and stuff of the film.
Okay.
So, alrighty. So that is it for me. Joey says, "Picturing you in baggy clothes and a backwards hat, Garrett, is an image the whole world needs to see." No, I do not wear baggy clothes. Sorry.
When we go Halloween Horror Nights, you're gonna be dressed as a rapper.
Sure. In LA, as a white kid, yeah, I'm gonna get shot. No, I'm not doing that. I wear clothing that fits. So, all right, let's go ahead. I have 2 wheel spins to do here because Kevin hijacked the Garrett pick for Kevin, which is fine.
Yep.
Can't wait to see what you have to say about with Belle. I'm debating writing a video essay for it.
Ooh.
Like, I love it that much. Final Destination, that's a Kevin one. I have already reviewed it, so I will go ahead and shuffle it again. Let's see. Round and round it goes. Where it ends up, nobody knows. Let's see.
Except
Hopefully
for
it's
you
short.
when you get it.
It's true. Get Smart!
I thought you've seen that one.
I haven't reviewed it. I have seen it before, but I have not reviewed it.
Oh, okay.
I watched that when it came out in theaters or something.
Maybe I was thinking of Top Naked Gun, too.
Yeah, I watched all the Naked Guns, and it's kind of similar. TV shows from around the same era. I'm just trying to get the short here, and it looks like we will get one very close to that, which will be the poet. The poet and something. Let me check it with here. The Poet and Peasant. Okay. So The Poet and Peasant is the short that I will be watching this week, which is, let me check, short film, Andy Pant. Wow. This is a short that like no one seems to have watched on here. This is actually really exciting. Okay, cool. Excited for that one. Alrighty, so that is it for the wheel spin this week. Let me go ahead and stop the screen share. Very excited for more movies to watch as always. Did I not change the music? There it is.
There it is.
Comment here from Fox Pixar Media. Hey, well, new viewer to the channel. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Good news.
Hello.
I have seen Twisters on the 14th of July. That's right. I saw it a week before the U.S. release. Thanks, Universal. Cool.
Nice.
If you're lucky enough to get early screenings, you're
Jump on that. Jump on that stuff.
Actually, I have a, I think for this weekend, because I'm a member of A24's club, they sent me a free ticket to go see Sing Sing this weekend, which is one of the Oscar frontrunners.
Sing Sing?
Yeah, it's about the guy who runs a theater group in a prison.
Oh.
Yeah, it's one of the Oscar frontrunners, so it's a free ticket that's included with my membership. So,
that's
super excited to go check it out, and it's early because it's not coming out till later in the year, I don't think. So, very excited to go check it out. It's a free ticket too.
Yeah.
So, but alrighty, that's it for everything that we have kind of scheduled for the show here. So for a recap, I will be watching the films Dragnet, Get Smart, and The Short, The Poet, and the Peasant. Kevin will be watching the films The Fugitive and Belle, and we'll be watching the short Disorder in the Court from the Three Stooges. So excited to check those out here. My thoughts on Twisters. It was really freaking amazing. Nice. My roommates went and saw it, and they said that it was good. So glad to see some positive vibes. Been getting some pretty decent positive reviews.
I haven't heard anything bad about it, like Borderlands or anything like that. If people don't talk badly about it, that means it's a good movie.
Yeah, so, at least it's decent. Yeah,
it's decent. Yeah, or it's freaking amazing.
Yeah, glad to see you liked it though. I definitely want to try and check it out as soon as I can. I think I'm going to try and go see Cuckoo this weekend and Trap, and probably Sing Sing if I get that ticket. But if I get the chance, I think Twisters is coming back to 4DX. I
love
Regal,
those.
So we should go, Kevin. We should go.
I can't
Twisters
do 4DX. I'll get so sick.
If it's not 3D,
I thought it was 3D.
I don't think in 4DX. Oh, it might be. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'll
if it's 3D, I can't.
I think they're doing the original one in not 3D in 4DX.
Oh, okay.
So maybe we'll go to that one. But $281 million. Yeah, it's doing pretty well so far, which is good.
For a good sequel. That's like kind of an older movie that people didn't really expect to get like I don't want to say a reboot, but a sequel pretty much.
Yeah, kind of just a reimagining, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, but alrighty, everyone. Well, that's kind of it for what we have scheduled for this whole week. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, those of you who don't know, we do have this weekly live stream that goes live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we talk about movie news, reviews, and so much more. We also have our weekly club, or weekly show, movie show, weekly show, Movie Club, which goes live every Friday at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so you have it just in time for your journey, commute, whatever you're doing. This week, we had covered The Godfather last week, which, for those of you who didn't watch it, is the first film that both Kevin and I have both given a 100 to.
Mm-hmm.
And this week, we are covering The Godfather Part 2, because it is also on the IMDb and Letterboxd Top 250, so we'll be covering that there as well. And then super excited for the one next week. So, but of course, that's going to be it. Fox Pixar says, oh, wait, they're re-releasing the first one. The pipe scene looks amazing. Yeah, they are. And if you have a Regal theater that has 4DX, you can go see it in 4DX. So you can be shaking around the entire time. But that's going to be it for this week's show, everyone. Also, if you did not see it already, I posted a video on Monday that is everything that I got during last month's Criterion Collection.
He spent money.
50% off all? Yeah, I spent more than I ever have on Criterion movies. So you can check that out. That went live on Monday. And then we should have another video that we're filming this weekend that'll hopefully go live on Monday. Trying to make Monday a content day for something that's other than Movie Club or the live stream. So hopefully we can get some more interesting stuff on Mondays. So, But until next time, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, keep those eyes on the screen. Good night, everyone.